Walked into Ballina yesterday afternoon. I saw this motel had a vacancy. I didn't think too hard about it. I came in and took a room. Cost 140 bucks. I don't plan on any more motel stays after this until I get to Brisbane. But it was definitely worth it. I had my first shower in 7 days. That felt bloody good. And hand dried all my clothes. Sorry, hand washed all my clothes. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for trying to dry them out in the sun there. Dry my undies. Dry. Alright, so it looks like I'm going to be a bit of a walking clothesline today. I've just tied my shorts and my shirt to this strap here, and then my undies hanging off the back, my socks drying out. So yeah, the walking clothesline boy. This looks like an abandoned caravan park. All the cabins are overgrown with weeds and broken windows. Wish you could get in there. It's just interesting seeing all these like shelters not being used when there's so much homelessness at the moment. I mean, people might be squatting in there. I hope people are squatting there. I hope these shelters are getting used. With the rental crisis, working families living in their cars, when you look on Gumtree for a place to live, and all you see is people saying, hey, I need a place to live. It used to be you go on there and people would be like, hey, we got a spare room. Now it's just people saying, does anyone have a spare room? You know, it's like 10 to 1, people needing versus people supplying. And it's a human right, you know, having a roof over your head. It's not like a luxury. It's not like eating a sundae on Monday. It's pretty fucking horrible what's happening in Australia right now. The haves and the have-nots. And then you see something like this. You know, there's people sleeping under bridges, and there's all these caravans and cabins just in a state of disrepair. I mean, they look pretty cool. I'd love to get in there and make a movie. And look, there's people living in there for sure, and good on them. Go and take it over. Turn it into like a squatter's castle. Used to be like rent would be 30% of someone's income, but if you're on any kind of welfare, it's more than 100% of your income now. So basically you just can't get anywhere to live. And then of course, if you don't have anywhere to live, it's hard to be on welfare, because you got to move around all the time, staying wherever you can, not want to outstay your welcome. But to be on welfare, if you're on the dole for instance, you got to attend meetings at your designated job provider, which is basically a scam. It's like a middleman between you and the government who get paid for you to be on the dole. So they talk about like cutting welfare by kicking people off the dole, but they've created this whole new middle industry where it's basically they're all dole bludgers themselves, but they have the dignity of saying that they've got a job, they're helping people find work. But what they're actually doing is policing people and kicking you off for the slightest infraction. You know, you get penalties, you get demerit points because you are, you know, you're living out of your car and you had to leave someplace, so you couldn't make it to your meeting, which was 200 kilometers away, and you have to answer your phone whenever it rings, no matter what. I mean, bad luck if your phone breaks or something. Yeah, it's a massive scam. And the customers are poor people. You know, you're no longer like someone who needs help to get your shit together, to get up off the ground. You know, you're a customer. That's what you are. Everyone's a fucking customer. And we've even abandoned the customer is always right principle in that particular scenario. I've got to work on the skill of asking if I can film people and then making them feel relaxed so they're not all stilted on camera. But like, I wanted to film this last night, like as I was coming into town, and there was this woman, she was clearly living out of her car. She got out of her car with a little dog, and you could see in her car she had a mattress and blankets and all her stuff, like really cramped living quarters. And yeah, she was taking the dog for a run. She set off, and I was just like, you know, that's not your stereotypical like image that middle-class people have of homeless people, you know. And the way that people talk to homeless people in this like baby voice, like when they're trying to be charitable or trying to be good, it's like you reduce them to being like some kind of infant. You know, this woman's like living out of a car because she's probably, I don't know, I'm not going to make any assumptions, but she's going on a run, taking her dog for a run, so she's got to look after her dog, and she's keeping herself fit, and she's living out of her car. And if you've been in the situation where you find yourself evicted because someone decided to sell their house and you happen to be living in it, try and get another place these days. Like, there are people working full-time as lawyers who can't get a place. You have to apply with 80 other people for some shithole that has black mold on the ceiling, and don't even try and complain about it. You know, the rental agency's not going to do shit, so you try to remove the black mold yourself, and then they keep the bond because you scraped off some paint because you're getting rid of a toxic fucking mold off the ceiling. That's a true story. That happened to me. Yeah, it astounds me how little attention the rental crisis is getting. Like, where are the solutions? It's impossible for there to be, like, they talk about a worker shortage. Sure, but where are workers gonna live? You can't just up stumps and move to like Forbes to pick fruit or whatever when there's nowhere to live. I saw an article saying it's worse now than in the Great Depression in terms of like being able to rent a place and the cost of rent. That doesn't surprise me, like, at all. Anyway, back to fun time, Duke. Walking down the highway, should be on the other side really. Just nice walking in the shade. Change conditions ahead. Hope it's not road work. Don't like road work.